how are you? こんにちは皆さん、お元気ですか? Today, Karate video number 56, and I'd like to talk about the difference between this word, samurai, and this is very famous, samurai, but we've got the other word, bushi. Maybe in English you don't say bushi, but samurai and bushi, and they are very similar. And what's the difference? At first, I'm going to explain you how to write this kanji of samurai. This part, it's like E from katakana. And this E from katakana, we call it ninben. This is a part of kanji, and it means something to do with persons. And the right part, the first, like this, tsuchi, like ground. And here, 1, 2, 3. And this part, we pronounce sun, isun, nisun, sansun. This is the way how to measure isun. It's like this, isun, nisun. But nowadays we don't use it. We with centimeters and kilometers nowadays. But sun, this is the old style. And people used to use sun. Well, and together the right part, this is tera. Tera, this temple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this temple, it is used in many other kanjis. But with this from like ninben, E from katakana, and tera, this is samurai. And this word samurai, this is quite new word in Japan. In the history of Japan, in the 16th century, and this samurai word was born. But before, they used a different word. Well, samurai, it comes from the verb saburau or saburaimasu. Nowadays, we don't use saburau. This is very ancient way. Saburau, it means to serve the noble people, to serve daimyo, to serve the Lord. So it comes from the saburau. Actually, we use samurai and bushi, these two words, just like a synonym. It's almost the same. But we must study a little bit about rekishi. Rekishi, this is history, because it depends on the which period, and then the meaning was changed. So we are going to see a little bit about rekishi. The origin of these words like samurai and bushi were born in this period, Heian Jidai. Heian period. Jidai, this is period. Heian, and here Heian, it means like the peaceful time. And that was from 794 till 1185. I love this era, this period, because this period is of the noble and the beautiful period. And even hiragana was born in Heian Jidai. Well, let's see what is Heian Jidai. And in Heian Jidai, samurai, this word was not pronounced like that, but they said saburai. Saburai, it comes from the verb saburau, to serve. The Heian period is the last division of classical Japanese history. And it is a period in Japanese history when Chinese influences were in decline and the national culture matured. The Heian period is also considered the peak of the Japanese imperial court and noted for its art, especially poetry and literature. Two types of Japanese script emerged, including KATAKANA, a phonetic script which was abbreviated into hiragana, a cursive alphabet with a unique writing method distinctive to Japan. This gave rise to Japan's famous vernacular literature. Many of them were written by court women who are not as educated in Chinese compared to their male counterparts. Although written Chinese, that we call kanbun, remained the official language of the Heian period, but the introduction and widespread use of kana saw a boom in Japanese literature. Despite the establishment of several new literacy genres such as novel and narrative monogatari and essays, literacy was only common among the court and Buddhist clergy. So this word samurai, well, actually saburai in Heian period, sabura and saburai, these persons were the persons who served the noble. And so it didn't mean that was the warrior. It didn't have to be the warrior. Everybody who served the noble, that was saburai. Now this word bushi, bushi, well, bu, this kanji bu, this means like the war or the martial, something, everything to do with martial. This is bu. And this shi, this kanji, it's quite easy, like 10 and 1. But when you write this kanji, you must be careful. This the last part, it's shorter than here. Because if you write longer, this is a different kanji, the land, tsuchi, tsuchi or doyobi no do. But this is shorter than here. And this shi, it means men, men, or the profession, but men, not women, men, and also the profession. So bushi, this means warrior, warrior. Now bunkai, bunkai is analysis. So I'm gonna do the analysis of this kanji, bunkai. Well, this kanji, bu, war, or the martial, look at this one. This part, it is just the same as this one. A little bit different, but this is origin. This, the blue color one. This means tomeru, tomemasu. It means to stop, to stop. And here, in the red, it comes, this one, this part, it comes from this. In this, we say hoko, hoko. Hoko is a kind of weapon. And that in these days, in those days, they used hoko, this weapon. So bushi is someone who stopped the war with the weapon. So this means the bushi, the warrior, is someone who stopped the war so that the people can live in peace. So this is one of the meanings of bushi. But I must tell you, there's other explanation, and this is totally different, totally opposite. And I don't know which is right, but I'm gonna explain you anyway. Well, nowadays there's a new study, and they say this kanji, I just told you, this means to stop, tomeru. But and this new study says this kanji, it can mean also the leg, ashi. So in this case, bushi must be the person with the legs. What does it mean? The person who advance, who go, or who advance, with a leg and advance with the weapon. So it means the persons who fight, who go to the war. This is Bushi. So these two meanings are totally different. But I tell you, and you can decide which mean do you prefer. I prefer the first one, but there are two meanings. Bushi, they were born also in Heian Jidai. Well, Bushi were about from 10th century till 19th century. But in Heian Jidai, the first of Bushi is also nobility statues. Bushi, the warrior. And in this period, Heian Jidai, Bushi were somebody who, they were warrior, and that is like a family statues. If a boy was born in the Bushi family, so he's gonna be a Bushi. So this is something that that is the family union of Bushi. But not all Bushis were samurai. Because do you remember samurai in this period? Samurai is the persons who served the nobility. Because there might have been some Bushi, they were not serving the nobility. And also samurai didn't have to be Bushi in this period, because samurai, anyone who served the nobility, they were samurai. They didn't have to be warrior. The Heian period is also noted for the rise of the samurai class, which would eventually take power and start the feudal period of Japan. Nominally, sovereignty lay in the emperor, but in fact, power was wielded by the Fujiwara nobility. However, to protect their interests in the provinces, the Fujiwara and other noble families required guards, police, and soldiers. The warrior class made steady political gains throughout the Heian period. Let me explain you very briefly 歴史 history, Japanese history. Well, so you know Heian Jidai, and here Bushi and samurai, these words are born, and this was the noble period. And the capital in Japan was in Kyoto in this period. But before, I didn't mention it, but before this Heian Jidai, it was Nara Jidai, period of Nara. So the capital was in Nara. But from the Heian Jidai, the capital is in Kyoto. And after Heian Jidai, Kamakura Jidai, period of Kamakura, from 1185 to 1333. Kamakura Jidai, just like the name, the capital was moved to Kamakura. Have you ever been to Kamakura? Beautiful place. In Kamakura, there's a big Buddha, very, very big Buddha, and that is outside of the building. There's no building. So Kamakura Jidai. And this Kamakura Jidai, this was Minamoto no Yoritomo. It's the period of Genji. And after that, Muromachi Jidai, from 1336 to 1573. In Muromachi Jidai, here it began the very bloody period. Lots of wars. Here, for example, very famous person like Oda Nobunaga was born. Oda Nobunaga. Have you ever heard of him? Muromachi Jidai. And after Azuchi Momoyama Jidai, from 15 1773 to 1603. And here, Adachi Momoyama Jidai, it's still lots of wars in Japan, civil wars. And here, for example, Oda Nobunaga died. Oda Nobunaga died, and also Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu. So these three very important shoguns, they were living in this period. And in the last of this period, there was a very, very bloody war called Sekigahara no Tatakai. Sekigahara no Tatakai. And there many people, almost all people died. But Tokugawa Ieyasu won this war, and Tokugawa Ieyasu moved the capital to Edo. So this is Edo period, Edo Jidai. Edo is, nowadays, Edo is Tokyo. And Edo Jidai, that was over 260 years, so long time. So this is the quite peaceful period, 1603 to 1868. So all these periods that I talked here, there were samurais and bushi. So these were the periods of the war. And do you remember I talked about this Sengoku Jidai in other video? Sengoku Jidai, this is the war period. From 1467, that was in period Muromachi, till 1615. This is in Edo period. So long, many years. There, samurai and bushi were there, you know? And after Edo period, after 1868, that was Meiji Jidai, Meiji period. And there, the Americans came to Japan, and they prohibited samurai and bushi, because now the Meiji Jidai, this is the period of the to everything is getting modern, occidentalization. After the chaos of the Sengoku period, the Edo period was characterized by economic growth, strict social order, isolationist foreign politics, a stable population, no more wars, and popular enjoyment of arts and culture. After a long period of inner conflict, the first goal of the newly established Tokugawa government was to pacify the country. It created a balance of power that remained stable for the next 260 years, influenced by Confucian principles of social order. Most samurai lost their direct possession of the land. The daimyo took over their land. The samurai had a choice, two choices. One, give up their sword and become peasants. And the second option, move to the city of their feudal lord and become a paid retainer. Only a few land samurai remained in the border provinces of the north, or as direct vassals of the shogun. The 5,000 so-called hatamoto. So after all of these histories, samurai, this word samurai was born in the 16th century. Samurai. But here, now, samurai and bushi, these two words are almost the synonym. So not so different as before. And in Edo Jidai was also samurai. samurai and the bushi is almost the same, and the most important thing was the fidelity to their lord. So if they failed to be very honest, they had to be harakiri or seppuku. So for samurais, this honorability and the fidelity were the most important thing. As a samurai practice, seppuku, and maybe in Occidental you say harakiri. Well, seppuku was used voluntarily by samurai to die with honor rather than fall into the hands of their enemies and likely to be tortured, or as a form of capital punishment for samurai who had committed serious offenses, or performed because they had brought shame to themselves. Nihonto, or maybe you know, like katana, this is the most important thing for samurai. It is the very spirit or very soul of samurai. And samurai never abandons his katana, even in the peaceful time. Kabuto, which is now known as a samurai helmet, first appeared in the 10th century in Heian period. But in the Edo period, when the society became peaceful, armor with a revival of the medieval times became popular. And the kabuto was an important part of the equipment of the samurai and played a symbolic roles as well. I'd like to explain you about this word, ronin. I'm sure you have heard ronin. Well, the kanji, ro, this is from the shi from katakana. And this shi from katakana, we say sanzui. And it's something to do with water. And the right part, this is yoi, the i, good. And this one, hito, or nin here, this means the person. And ro, this is like a wave in the sea. So ronin, well, ronin is a bushi or samurai without a lord. So he's free. It's like a freelance. Ronin. So ronin is the person or wanderer. See, he doesn't have anyone to serve. So he's free. So free bushi or free samurai. This is ronin. And ronin, this word is from the older feudal period, from 1185 till the end of Edo period, 1868. So there was ronin in this period. Ronin, drifter or wanderer, was a samurai without a lord or master during the feudal period of Japan. A samurai became masterless upon the death of his master or after the loss of his master's favor or privilege. Now I'm going to explain you in the word of these days. It's a little bit strange, but bushi is like all kind of persons who work. For example, nowadays, it can be part-time job or freelance, bushi. But samurai, this is only government worker, because they have to be very, their work is forever. It's like a government work. And ronin cannot be samurai because he hasn't a lord. He doesn't have any lord. So ronin is not samurai, but he is bushi, right? Because he works now here, and the other day there. like that. So they are much more Bushi than samurai, because Bushi is Bushi samurai plus the other Bushi, like Ronin. So all of them are Bushi. So do you understand now the difference between Bushi and samurai? So samurai was just one part of Bushi, and samurai was the most noble of all the Bushi, right? Did you like this video? Do you think it was useful for you? If so, please give me a like, and if you share my videos with your friends, that will help me a lot. And your commentary also, that motivates me a lot. And if you didn't subscribe my channel yet, please subscribe my channel too. 今日もここまで見てくださって本当にどうもありがとうございます。もし気に入っていただけたら、ぜひチャンネル登録といいねボタン、そして私のビデオをお友達とシェアしていただけたら、とても嬉しいです。ぜひお願いいたします。ではまた会いましょう。じゃあね。